Hey, hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle, and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. This is an online safe space that I created for millennial women, just like the two of us, to thrive with purpose. And today, what I'm going to actually cover is so exciting. I'd already promised you guys that I'm going to talk about something to do with generational legacies. This is it. So, today we're going to talk about how to create a new generational legacy. In the other videos, I think there was a video previously that I shared about, changing the narrative, and that facts no longer serve us, like for you to do something new and for you to create a new trajectory in your lifetime, in your family, and in your life. Facts no longer work, right? For you to allow God to do a new thing in your life, facts no longer work. But the secret, not even secret, the principle that actually allows us to create great and mighty new things, it's actually faith. So by faith, you can create great and mighty new things. Facts no longer serve us. So earlier this week, I had an amazing media interview at Nation, which is one of the oldest, but also one of the mainstream media houses in Kenya. And so when I was having a conversation with this journalist, sometimes when you know your journey, but then when you sit down and you start narrating to somebody else what your journey has been like, it takes you through this whole new wave of just gratitude. Like, wow, God, I've really come this far. I never knew that bit in my journey has led to this, even though it was painful, even though I had no idea what on earth 2 years or 5 years or 7 years would look like. Here I am, and it all worked out for the good. And so it made me feel so grateful for the journey that I've been on at the moment. And I wanted to share this gift with you guys because I realized that this generation of ours, we are being called to move in such drastic ways that we never even thought possible. And the moves that you're going to make are going to set up future generations for great success in all facets of life, not just success in terms of money. I'm talking about legacy here. Not just money, but legacy. Yes, it includes financial, but it also setting up families. It's also setting up spiritual legacies. It also sets up healing and emotional legacies, because I honestly sense the world needs a lot of healing from all the past stuff that has happened through colonialism and the World War and all of that. And I just believe that we need to set up a whole new trajectory of success for the future generations. But first, story time. There is a Bible verse that truly inspired me recently, and I'd like to read it out to you. It's in 2 Kings 10:30. It says, "The Lord said to Jehu, because you have done well in accomplishing what is right in my eyes, and have done to the house of Ahab all that I had in mind to do. Your descendants," listen to this, "your descendants will sit on the throne of Israel to the fourth generation." Underline that part, to the fourth generation. So for these man's future four generations down the line, for them to sit on the throne, it took him doing well in accomplishing what is right in God's eyes, and doing and what he did to the house of Ahab with regards to what was required of him. Only then only then did his descendants become legible to literally rule by sitting on the throne of Israel to the fourth generation. And if you watch my previous video, I mentioned talking about we having to moving, some kind of movement that is required so that you can set up future generations for success, but also so that you can set yourself up as a pioneer for that success. We require to move, you guys. What does moving look like? Does it look like changing your mindset? Does it look like healing? Does it look like forgiving? Does it look like moving physically from what you're used to a whole new place that you're not really used to, but you moved anyway because God led you? Are you willing to move your business from being a pestle and mortar kind of like business to online, so that you can publish your ideas, your offerings, your gifts, your message like this one to the world. The world is hungry for diversity. The world is hungry for success. The world is hungry to support you and lift you to your future generational legacy. But are you willing to move? And so, what I was thinking about, especially during this media interview, is that we ended up discussing, like that interview ended up even becoming an actual conversation. We even forgot that we were having an actual interview. And it's because of my spiritual gift. It was active at that point, my spiritual gift of encouragement and teaching, but also storytelling. And whenever I get deep into storytelling, I can engage a room so deeply to a point where we even forget what we were doing. And at that time, that's when I knew God was in charge of that conversation. And it's because I was in that room, I know that this particular journalist was actually going to publish this story, but she was also moved to tell more stories like mine of women who are actually willing to change generational legacies in such deep and profound ways, in which we are moving and setting ourselves, our ideas, and our businesses up and our messages up for the global audience, right? So what I learned is vision. Can I challenge you with something? Just ask yourself two questions. One, which is the longest vision your country currently has? In my country, Kenya, our longest serving vision, like the biggest vision we have in this country, is called Vision 2030. And imagine even saying that, I'm sure you've seen my face. There's a bit of, oh my gosh, 2030 is just in a decade. And that's it? Like the longest vision this country can ever just sit down with all of the amazing brains and stuff like that we have in this country. I tell you, Kenyans have some serious intelligence. But even with all that intelligence, the longest we can ever think of ourselves is 2030. You guys, that is scary. Because if Jehu was able to set up 4 generations for success, and we are thinking of we've set up an entire country for only 2030, for only a decade. And yet, when I was there's a time I watched a CNN documentary. I love watching documentaries and just learning from different different parts of the world, and their stories, and how different stories from different countries. I learned about Egypt, and I learned about the Egyptian ancestors and how they were signing up this deal for the Nile. Okay, I don't want to get into the politics of it. For me, I'm now focusing on vision. Can you imagine when these people were setting up, writing this treaty that controls the Nile River, and how they signed it up to protect and to serve the Egyptian nation? If I am not wrong, I really wanted to remember that particular documentary, but the data was like it's almost 1,000 years or almost 500 years to serve the children of Egypt. Whichever people will be in Egypt, that the future generations, that the Nile would serve them for either 500 years or 900 years. You guys, if you know the actual specific data, please comment below and let me know. So I'm thinking this particular leader was not just thinking about himself and signing this treaty to sustain Egypt just for however long he's going to live, or his current children were going to live, but he was thinking 500 years down the line, or 900 or 1,000 years down the line. That is vision, my friends. And I think one of the most dangerous people on earth, no, it's not what people normally say, or terrorists or whatever. I think the most dangerous people on earth, living and walking on this earth, are people without a vision. Because people without a vision, generations ahead, are the ones who are robbing these countries, robbing this world, robbing families of prosperity and of success. Just look at any country which has no vision. Look at any country, including my country, that has no long-serving generational vision. They are the countries that are currently in crisis. And for me, I want to challenge you. Just ask yourself, what is the longest serving vision in your country, and how is that serving you? Is it really setting yourself up 4 generations down the line for success? And number 2, what is the longest serving vision you have for yourself? And even for your business. But even for yourself, do you have a vision for yourself? And maybe I could do a video later on about how to figure out your purpose and how to create a vision for yourself. Because guess what? If you do not have an active vision in which you're working towards, you're one of those dangerous people. To be honest, because it's like the world does not benefit from you not having a vision. The world does not benefit from you not having a purpose. The world does not benefit from you not serving with a vision. Your future generations, you're not doing them any service and any good service by not having a vision that sets them up for success. And I know it may sound really heavy, but this is me, like it's really been weighing heavy in my heart, because I keep seeing what's happening in different parts of the world, from environmental conservation to political leadership, to businesses, to families, how people are setting up families, to movements, to even the church. And I honestly feel that in all of these areas, any place where we see there's a crisis, it's because people did not think about 4 generations down the line. The reason why forests, sorry about that, this place is really windy. The reason why many people the reason why the environment, rivers are drying up, the reason why forests are burning, is because people are not thinking of generations down the line. They're not thinking about future generation. How will this environment serve future generations? They're not thinking about that. The reasons why countries are in crisis, let's say with health and all manner of things, children are hungry, is because people have not thought, how are we going to feed 4 generations down the line? The reasons why we are having businesses that are damaging societies more than solving real human problems is because people are thinking of money. They are not thinking, how will this business serve for generations down the line? And not just your children, but the children of your employees, the children of your gatekeeper, the children of the other stakeholders. How will they benefit from this vision? Right? The reason why rivers are drying up is because people did not figure out that 4 generations down the line, their children will need rivers. They'll need water. So I just like to challenge you guys with those 2 things. Number one, and sorry about all this wind blowing. I live in a very, very windy place, but it's also beautiful because there are lots of birds outside singing. There's beautiful sun. I'm not a city person. I just love the outdoors and just nature around me. So that's a short commercial break. Today, I want to challenge you by asking you these 2 questions. Number one, what is the longest serving vision in your country? Just be very honest and ask yourself, how can you set yourself up beyond what the country is saying? Is it in alignment? Is it serving your future generations? And how can you also become part of that to push your country beyond this just vision, the vision that they have, but 4 generations down the line? Number 2, what is the longest vision, serving vision in your own personal life? This vision could incorporate your business. It could also incorporate, your spiritual life. It could also incorporate your legacy. But what is the longest serving vision right here, right now? What is the longest serving vision you have over your life? And if you are to think of maybe 4 generations down the line of your kids or of your employees or of your maybe country or community or the globe, now that we're setting ourselves up and our ideas for the world, how will it serve 4 generations down the line? Very simple. Be very honest with yourself. And when you realize that the vision is too short, a good vision, let's say, thinks 3 generations, maybe 30 years, that's according to business. But I challenge you to be like Jehu. Think 4 generations down the line. Think that 4 generations down the line, that means it's your great-grandchildren. Think about your great-grandchildren. Think about the great-grandchildren in your country, the great-grandchildren of your employees, the great-grandchildren of your community. What will their life look like because of the action and the vision you have today? Will it serve them, or is it not doing them a favor? Please challenge yourself. Ask yourself that question and start realigning. Okay? So I know it was pretty deep, but I feel that in the world today, we need to have such conversations. It is necessary. And once you start thinking about these questions, 4 generations down the line, you may not even necessarily see it, but at least your future kids, your future generations, they will thank you for having such a solid vision. They will thank you for that 1 hour of reflection. They will thank you for that one simple action. They will thank you for that one simple thing that you did that set them up for success. And I want to, on their behalf, I want to say thank you for thinking of us. Thank you for setting us up for success. Imagine your great-grandchildren saying that to you. Thank you for thinking of us, and thank you for setting us up for success. So also comment below what is the longest serving vision in your country, and what is the longest serving vision you have in your family. I mean, or rather for yourself. For me, definitely it has to be family, because the words have been coming out. But just comment below and let's start this new wave of people, young millennials like us, who are thinking about generations, 4 generations ahead of us. Okay? And that's all for today. I am Ayuma Michelle, and this is Let's with Ayuma, where I'm empowering women millennials just like us to thrive with purpose. Don't forget to like, comment, and to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.